Welcome back, everyone, to the Royals franchise, where unfortunately today we have to start with an injury. It is the corner infielder and outfielder Hunter Dozier, and it's a dislocated ankle, which means he is likely done for the year, and he actually may be done as a Royal altogether. I know he is under contract for another year, but we may end up cutting him and just moving on from him. So somebody does have to get called up in his place, and that's going to be Barton Ruth, an outfielder at 28 years old that has been hitting pretty well at the AAA level and is actually coming off a great game where he had 2 home runs and helped Omaha win 9-1 over Indianapolis. Let's get into his Major League debut, where he's matched up with Mike Soroka and the Atlanta Braves, who are off to a slow start. Hopefully Barton Ruth himself does not get off to a slow start. He's in an 0-1 count. As nobody on in this bottom of the second, he's going to send a sinking line drive to right field. It'll get down for his first hit in Major League Baseball. Hopefully the first of many, but he is 28 years old, not really a prospect. So who knows how good he'll ends up being. Maybe he could be one of those late bloomers. He would not come around to score, but he is up again here with a runner on first base and in a full count, and he's going to draw a walk. That is something he's going to have to do a lot of if he wants to stick around. That is get on base in general, because he is not a good fielder. He is a pretty fast runner, though, and he's going to try and show that off here, trying to go first to third on a base hit by Nicky Lopez, and he will. He'll slide in safely at third base on the RBI single from Nicky Lopez. He would again not come around to score, but we would go on to win this one 3-2 over the Braves, the win going to Jordan Lyles, the loss to Mike Soroka, and the save to Scott Barlow. A pretty solid Major League debut for Barton Ruth, who goes 1 for 2 with a single and even ends up drawing a walk. We have another injury to deal with, this one to super utility man Nate Eaton. I know he's not a great hitter, but anytime you lose somebody who could play at a high level at pretty much any position, it sucks. So in his place, we'll have to call up Yohan Camargo. He can't play the outfield, but he could be a decent backup infielder, at least with the glove, but probably not the bat. We now have Robert Nakamura 100% scouted, and he looks like he is going to be a good player, but probably not the player we should select in the first round at pick 8. If he's available with our second pick in the draft, I guess we could look at him then, but he probably will not be available by then. John McGregor is the new player that we're going to take a closer look at. He is out of Missouri, so we can keep him in his home state. He's only 35% scouted, but so far, he looks like he's going to be a good contact hitter with good fielding and even some good speed. We are still scouting international starting pitchers and have them up to 50% scouted, and the best one so far is Manuel Aquino. He is up to draft rank 6, when before this, he was not even ranked. He looks like he could be an absolute steal in the draft, at least so far. Orlando Tovar out of Mexico, another 18-year-old just like Manuel Aquino is. He also looks like he could be a great player, up to draft rank 12. But remember, these guys are only 50% scouted, so we'll take a look at them and some other starting pitchers when we get them to 100% scouted. We are going to option Jackie Bradley Jr. down to AAA. I know he's supposed to be up for his defense, but I don't think his defense has been good, and he's batting under 100, so he's going to go down to AAA, and in his place, we will call up Albert Almora Jr., who should provide good defense anyway, but has also been hitting at the AAA level. He's got a 317 average, a 362 OBP, and an 854 OPS. We are closing in on the end of the month of April, and we're going to jump into a game taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 13-11. We're sitting at 11-12. A look at the lineup we are sending out there for this game. Salvador Perez in the DH spot today, which means that MJ Melendez will be behind the plate, and Fran Milras, the usual DH, will be in right field. In the top of the second, we're still tied at 0. Mad Bum on the hill. For the Diamondbacks, he's getting up some solid contact to left center field from the Franimal, and it's going to split the outfielders, getting all the way to the wall. The throw would get away, but Franmil is going to stay at second base with a leadoff double. Barton Ruth hitting 440 in the early going. Hits one on the ground to Evan Longoria, who's going to throw over to first base, but the throw is offline. It'll be an error on Evan Longoria, putting runners at first and second with nobody out. An RBI opportunity for Matt Duffy. He's going to hit one to right field. It is going to sink in for a base hit. They are going to hold Franmil up at third, though, so the bases are going to be loaded with nobody out. Yohan Camargo with a great chance to do something. The bases are juiced. He's going to chop it to third. The throw goes to the plate. They get the out there, and they get Camargo at first base. It's going to be a double play, and the Diamondbacks are just an out away from getting out of the bases of a jam. Albert Almora with 2 on and 2 outs, going to pop it up in foul territory in his first at-bat as a Royal. And the Royals are going to waste a chance with the bases loaded and nobody out and not score a single run. Brady Singer, the starting pitcher for us today. He's 0-4 on the year with an 8.82 ERA and a 1.84 whip. He has been pretty terrible. Maybe he could have a good start today, though, and start the turnaround. He's going to give up a ground ball to the left side that will get through for a base hit, but Barton Ruth able to get the ball in quickly and keep it to just a base hit. A runner on for Corbin Carroll. The speedy outfielder is going to hit one to left field. Barton Ruth running back near the wall. It's going to one up off the wall. He's going to fire it in quickly, and it's going to be a double. But there is still nobody out in this bottom of the second. Longoria, in that 2-2 count, chops it to first. Pasquantino is going to flip it over to Singer, who will get the out at first base, but a run is going to score. It'll be an RBI for Evan Longoria. Nick Ahmed with a runner at third is going to hit to third, but Camargo isn't going to throw home. He'll throw to first and get the second out, but another run is going to score. Now in the bottom of the fourth inning, we're down 2-0 still. Corbin Carroll, 1 for 1 on the day, but he's going to look to make it 2 for 2, crushing this one to right center field. It is going to get down, 1 up off the wall, and Carroll is going to head for third base. It's going to be a stand-up triple for Corbin Carroll to lead off the bottom of the fourth inning. Longoria, who has already driven in a run today, has a chance for another RBI, and he's going to get it. His second RBI ground out of the game is going to make it 3-0. Jumping to the top of the fifth, it is still 3-0, Diamondbacks on top. Matt Duffy in a full count. He's going to walk to lead off the top of the fifth, hoping to jumpstart this Royals offense. Albert Almora Jr. looking for his first hit as a Royal, and he's going to get it with a ground ball down the first base line past Walker. It's going to get all the way to the wall, and it'll be extra bases for Almora, who's going to head for third base as Duffy's going to score easy, and Almora is going to slide in safe at third with an RBI triple, making it 3-1 here in the top of the fifth inning. Almora still at third with 2 away. Melendez is going to send one to center field. It is hanging up there, and it's going to bloop in for a hit. It'll be an RBI single for Melendez, who's going to second, and he's thrown out. What was he thinking? At least he drove in a run, but what was he doing there? Brady Singer still out there on the mound, trying to keep his team in the game. He's going to strike out Jake McCarthy to start this bottom of the fifth inning. Gabriel Moreno in a 1-2 count. He's going to swing over the top of the sinker and be the second straight strikeout. And Brady Singer strike out this side. He can. He'll get a chase way out of the zone. An impressive bottom of the fifth against the Diamondbacks top of the order for Brady Singer. Now in the top of the eighth, still 3-2. Melendez sending one to right field. It is going to be caught, though, on the warning track for allowed out number 1 in the top of the eighth inning. Salvador Perez, the very next batter, he's going to absolutely mash one to left field, no doubt about it. It is way out of here for a solo shot for Salvador Perez, his 6th home run of the season, and he's going to tie us all up at 3 here in the top of the 8th inning. What a clutch home run from Salvador Perez. Dominic Fletcher in the bottom of the 8th inning, though, is going to send one to left field himself, and it's going to get down and bounce into the wall, and it's going to be an RBI double for Dominic Fletcher to give the Diamondbacks the lead again. Now in the bottom of the 8th, 4-3, and that means the Royals got to try and come back against the closer for the Diamondbacks. Joe Mantiply, can they do it? Barton Ruth sending it to center field, and it's going to be caught by Dominic Fletcher for the first out of the 9th inning. 2 away, and the Royals down to their last out. Edward Olivares hitting one on the ground to the second baseman, and it's going to be a 1-2-3. Top of the 9th for Joe Mantiply. He'll get the save, and the Royals are going to lose this one 3-4. The loss would at least not go to Brady Singer, who did pitch an alright game, especially considering how he was pitching before that game. And the Bats, they wasted a chance with the bases loaded, and nobody out, did not score a single run, and that was really the deciding factor in this game. We are right now sitting at 12-17 as we are going to begin the month of May, and I think it's time that we talk about some minor leaguers in our system and how they're doing. Drew Waters at the AAA level is batting .294 with a .400 on base percentage, and has been pretty great for our AAA team. If he has one more good month at AAA, we will call him up, and he's going to play a ton down the stretch. At the AA level, Austin Charles has been a doubles machine. He's got 12 doubles in 19 games and is batting .346 with a .915 OPS. He has been great, but he's still a couple of years off from making the jump to MLB. Asa Lacy, we talked about him in the first episode of this series. and he was terrible his first couple of years in the minor leagues, but this year, he's pitching great at 2.87 ERA, a 106 whip, and only 12 walks in 37 and 2/3 innings pitched, but he still needs a bit more time at the AAA level. It is time to make our first trade of this franchise. I know in real life that Aroldis Chapman has been pretty good for the Royals so far, but for us in this franchise, he has been terrible, and I want to move on from him. So we're going to be making a trade for an infielder, and after looking around, that infielder we're going to be going after is Nick Madrigal. He hopefully can hit for a high average, he's got good vision, his power is obviously terrible, and his throwing arm is pretty weak, but that should not matter as long as we're only playing him at second base. At the AAA level for the Cubs, he has been really good, hitting .333 with a .409 on base percentage. We are also going to include Kris Bubic in this deal, a starting pitcher who's at our AAA level. At just 25 years old, he has been pretty disappointing when he has been given an opportunity at the big league level, but at AAA this year, he's pitching pretty well, and I figure this would be a pretty fair offer of Kris Bubic and Aroldis Chapman for Nick Madrigal, who is buried at second base on the Cubs roster. So let's go ahead and make the deal, and the Cubs will accept. To open up a roster spot for Madrigal at the big league level, we are going to option Camargo down to AAA. He really struggled in his 5 games. I think he actually hurt us more than he helped us being on the team. And with the open bullpen spot that we have, because of the trading away of Aroldis Chapman, we call up Nick Whitgren to fill that spot. Hopefully it could be a decent bullpen arm for us. But let's jump into Nick Madrigal's first game as a Kansas City Royal. He is batting in that 2 spot and playing second base, and he's got a runner in scoring position in Bobby Witt Jr. And his first at bat is going to be a line drive to left center field. It's going to get down, and Bobby Witt Jr. is going to come around to score easy. An RBI single from Nick Madrigal to make it 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Now in the top of the second, we are up 3-0. Madrigal getting a chance in the field. As long as you have him at second base, he should be fine, but if you move him to third or anywhere else, it's probably not going to work out too well. In the bottom of the second, Nick Madrigal, another chance to drive in a run. He's got 2 on, but there are 2 away, and he finds himself in a 1-2 count. He is going to line one to center field on a perfect though, and it's going to be another RBI single for Nick Madrigal, his second single of the day and his second RBI, and he makes this one 4-0. And we would go on to win this one 4-3 over the Orioles. The win going to Brad Keller, his first of the year, and the save to Scott Barlow, his 6th of the season. A pretty good debut for Nick Madrigal, who goes 2 for 3 with 2 singles, 2 RBI, and also ended up drawing a walk. We have another injury to deal with. This one to Nicky Lopez. It is a torn ACL, and it's going to end his season. He was actually having a pretty good bounce back year, but that's going to be over. And that is now the 3rd injury to the infield, the 3rd of this episode. And what are we going to do? Are we going to just call back up Yohan Camargo and roll with him? I mean, he wasn't good in the couple of games that he played in. I thought he was hurting the team more than he was helping it. So instead, how about we make another trade? This one for Harold Castro, a super utility player who's got good contact ratings, not really a great fielder. And I mean, at least he can fill in a couple of different spots if we have more injuries, and he's a better hitter than Yohan Camargo. Obviously a worse fielder, but we don't have to give up much to get him. We're only giving up Jackson Kowar, who's been in the bullpen for us as a long reliever and has been okay. To replace him in the bullpen, we are going to call up Alec Mills from AAA, who had been pitching pretty well down there. So we are right now sitting at 13-19 on May 5th, and I want to get into one more game in this episode. So we'll be taking on the Oakland Athletics, who are also 13-19, in a battle of a couple of the worst teams in baseball right now. Jordan Lyles, the starting pitcher for us today. He has had a pretty good start to the year, sitting at 4-0. Can he keep that win streak going himself? It's going to be a ball hit to right field on the second batter of the game, and it's going to be a bloop base hit, putting runners on first and second with nobody out. Now 1 away and runners at the corners. Seth Brown is going to get jammed, but he's going to get this one down in play down the third base line. It's going to be an RBI double for Brown. The runner from first, though, is going to come all the way around and try to score, and he's going to be hosed at the plate. Another terrible base running decision in this episode. I have no idea what the CPU base runners are thinking. I mean, that was just terrible. Ground ball to Duffy. He's going to boot it, but he is going to recover and get the out at first, and we're able to get out of the inning, only allowing that 1 run. And the bats come alive in the bottom of the first. Nick Madrigal up with a runner on first in Bobby Witt Jr. Madrigal hitting 500 in the early going, and he's going to get a hold of one, sending it down the left field line, and it's going to get down. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to go first to third on a base hit from Nick Madrigal, putting runners at the corners. Vinny Pasquantino up in a 2-0 count. It's going to hit one on the ground. It gets under the glove of Ruiz. It's going to be an RBI single, and it's misplayed in center field by Laureano, allowing Madrigal to go first to third, putting runners at the corners again. Franmil Reyes in a hitter's count is going to absolutely demolish one to left center field, and that one is going to get out of here. It's going to be a 3-run homer from the Franmil, making it 4-1 in the bottom of the first inning. That home run is Franmil Reyes' 5th of the season. Hopefully many more to come. Harold Castro looking for his first hit as a Royal. He is going to scold one down the line, but it's dove on and caught by the first baseman. And it's going to be a double play. Some really bad luck for Harold Castro. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to send one down the first base line as well, but it's over the head of the first baseman and is going to curl into the corner. The runner on first is going to come around and try to score. The relay is going to be not in time. It'll be an RBI trouble from Bobby Witt Jr., making it 5-1. Nick Madrigal in a 2-2 count is going to hit one to center field. It's going to bloop in. It'll be an RBI single from Nick Madrigal, making it a 6-1 game. And we are actually going to jump all the way to the 9th inning. Scott Barlow entering the game. Not a save situation, but we want him to improve his trade value. He's facing the heart of the A's order, getting a ground ball to the right side. It's knocked down by Vinny Pasquantino, and he's going to flip it over to first to get the first out of this top of the 9th inning. Now with 2 away, it's Aledmus Diaz in an 0-0 count. Over 3 on the game, and he's going to be 0 for 4, hitting a weak ground ball to the right side. And the Royals are going to win this one 6-1 over the Oakland Athletics. The win goes to Jordan Lyles, his 5th of the year, and he had a pretty good game, going 6 innings, striking out 7. The bullpen was pretty shut down, and the lineup, they put up 6 runs. However, all those came in those first 2 innings, and after that, they kind of fell asleep. So we have not made a waiver claim yet in this franchise, and we're going to be trying to make our first. We're going to be trying to claim Mark Leiter Jr., a relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, who has seen his overall and potential both go up. He is 32 years old, so not really a long-term thing, but if he pitches like he is at the AAA level for us at the big league level, it could help out our bullpen. That's going to be all for today's episode. In the next episode, we're going to talk a lot about the draft and the prospects in it because we're going to be getting all the way to the end of June. We're currently in May, so a pretty big jump coming in the next episode, but I want to speed up this first year because it doesn't look like it's going to be going anywhere really. So we'll see what happens in the next episode. Thanks for watching this one, and I will see you then.